All right, so for this exercise, we're going to be practicing writing and reading from files by keeping sort of a journal. So we're allowing the user to add notes to a single file, and give an a sequence of entries, or to read that file through our program. So it's a real, it's kind of a low budget, simplified field notes journal that we can add to. So when the program starts up, I'm going to have the user enter in a choice, maybe type 0 if they want to display their entire journal, and type 1 to be able to add something. And so the important thing is when they add to the journal, we want to make sure that we're preserving their journal contents. What I'll do is I'll allow the user to type in as many lines into the journal as they want at any given sitting, and I'll let them stop or indicate that they're done adding their entry by typing the word quit. All right, so I'm just going to start out by creating two different functions, because this program allows the user to print the journal or allows them to add an entry. So there's really two basic functions. I'll do that as individual functions. So print journal. And for now, I'm not going to do anything at all, really. We'll just keep it at that. And if we don't want the function to do anything, we can use the keyword pass, and that'll just tell Python that look, there's nothing in this function right now. And it's a nice little trick in that we could return 0 or something like that, but that's a nice little keyword that just says, okay, we're going to come back to this, but for now, just ignore the content of this function. So the other one is going to be add entry, which will add an entry to the journal, right? Or add a sequence of entries or a sequence of listings to the journal. And this one I'll do pass for a second as well. And then when my program starts up, I'm just going to say choice equals prompt, right? I'll call it prompt action. And that's going to be a function that actually tells the user, hey, look, can you type in 0 or 1 to tell me which one you want to do? Maybe I could even have them enter some string instead and return 0 or 1. But I'll do this. So choice equals 0, print journal, else I'll do add entry. Right, so let's get to this prompt action function. So I want to make this a little user friendly. So let's print out whether they want to add or print. And please tell me if you want to print journal or add entry. Right? And so the user is literally going to type in the word print or add. And I'm going to make it somewhat friendly in that if they type in uppercase, lowercase, doesn't really make a difference. So I'm going to say if, and actually this should be input. So let's say text equals input. If text lower equals add, and I'm going to return 1 in that case, else return 0. All right, so I have a nice menu system that allows the user to type in a textual command. In fact, over here, instead of doing pass, I'll just go print, and print add. All right, this way I can get the program started a little bit and make sure that my menu system works. All right, so print, okay, print, add, good. The way I have this is if the user types in some nonsense value, we're just going to print out the journal, which kind of makes some sense because that way we're not going to do anything destructive. All right, so we can't really print the journal until we add some entries, so we probably want to start with that. I know that print journal and add add journal or add entry are both going to need to know the file name of my file. I don't want to write that twice, so I'm going to hard code that up as a global variable. I'll just call it notes.text. And let's cover this add entry part. So the way we add entries to or add text to a file is to open it in append mode. So I'll say journal equals open the file name in append mode. Remember, append mode means if the file doesn't exist, create it and open it. And if the file does exist, open it and begin writing to the end of that file. So now I'm going to sit in a loop and I'm going to ask the user to type in some text, and if they type in the word quit as their only entry, then I'll stop. So I'll actually print some instructions for them. Okay, so there's my instruction command. And now I'm going to sit in a loop and wait for the user. So I'll say something like done equals false. That's a little flag, while done equals false. I'll get some text from the user, and I'm just going to give like a little prompt for the user, just something like that. And if text equals quit, I will do journal.close and I'll return. Else journal.write the text out. Okay. Now, unlike the when we're reading a text file, when we read a text file, automatically we bring in the new line associated with that line of text. The write command on a file itself does not append a new line, and we probably want a new line to separate each one of our entries. So I'm going to add that new line by doing a /n. Okay, so we're all set, and again, you might be wondering why I used a variable here. Some people will just say while true. That's fine, and you can do it that way. I generally don't do that because I often end up allowing myself to escape the loop. In this case, I wanted to return while I was in the loop, but a lot of times my loops will stop. And then I will do something else afterwards. And so I like the idea of having the ability to just stop my loop by saying done equals true, and then I could do something else down here. And maybe we'll end up changing this program that'll be useful. So that's just kind of my style. To keep it at to use a flag instead of just saying while true and continuing, banking on the fact that I'm going to return. All right, so let's run this. So I want to add. Says okay, start typing. So this is my first entry into my important notes, and now I'll type quit. Okay. So first off, I've got notes.txt here, right? So I see the notes.txt file is being created. If I do more notes.txt, and by the way, if you're on Windows, the more statement doesn't work. You can open up that file in Notepad or something like that, but I can see my text. Let's try this again and make sure that we're adding or appending to the file. So this is yet another important field note. Quit. So my more command is kind of cheating. It's allowing me to look at my journal without using my actual program. That's okay. And I can see each one of these. I might want to actually separate them. So let's remove notes.txt or remove notes.txt. And after writing this, let's add like a little bit of a line break there. Okay. Make it a little bit more readable. So I'll do the same thing again. This is my first note. Quit. Add. This is another note in this journal. Quit. Notice quit is not going to appear in a journal. Okay, and so that looks a little bit nicer in that we're actually, I put the dash after each line. I shouldn't do the dash after each line. I should just do it after each entry. So it's not really here. Let's get rid of that. Let's do journal. When we're about to close the file, we'll write that. Okay, add first note, quit, add. This is my second entry. It is multiple lines. And let's do one more for good measure. Okay, and now we see, each individual entry has been separated by these dashes. If we wanted to get a little more advanced, we could automatically put the date or something like that. All right, so now let's look at print. Right now, if we type in print, we just print out print. All right, let's work on actually reading this file. And the printing a text file, again, since Python allows us to iterate through line by line, it's really a pretty trivial process. So we can do journal equals open file name, and again, since I used that global variable, I don't have to keep rewriting the text file name. I'm going to open in read mode now. I'm going to iterate through, go through the line in journal, and print out line. Okay, and so let's just remember to close it. So let's run this and type print. All right, so I ran into my problem that we continue to see, right? I've got a new line in between each line of text, so let's fix that. And now when I type print, I can see the full text entry. And if I type add, I can add a new entry. And if I type print, I can see the new entry. One last thing that I'd like to look at, let me remove notes .text. And let's see what happens if the user types print when the file doesn't exist. Right, what I'll see is that I've got kind of an ugly error message that says file not found. I can fix that, and I can fix that using some packages that are available in Python to determine whether or not a file actually exists. So I'm going to add a couple of lines of code in here, and I'm going to import the package operating systems, and specifically the operating system's path. Path is commonly referred to for a file path, right? And so these are packages that allow me to manipulate and examine the file path. And I can say if os.path is file name, which will return this function inside the path module will return to me true or false if that file exists. So if it doesn't exist, I'm just going to say print, sorry, there is no journal yet. And then return. Right. And so that's a little bit, we don't really cover that in the textbook or anything like that, but it's a nice little snippet of code that can help you deal with files not existing. And now if I say print, I don't get a big error message. You know, it looks kind of professional and works. If I rerun the program and now add a first entry and print, well, now I see it because file name was indeed a path. It does exist on the file system, and I made it through that if statement, and now I'm printing out the journal.